Well, good morning, everybody, and I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to today's Esoteric Influences. I'm kind of liking what we're doing here. I like separating this out from the tarot and rune reading. I'm sort of getting into the flow. It's taking a little bit, but we'll get it all together here eventually. But yesterday was a 9 energy with the ninth day of the month. Now we have a 10 energy, or a 1 energy, actually. It's the 10th day of the month. And so today we're going to allow a new path to take hold. And I suspect, well, I'll just finish and then I'll say what I think here. The current situation's been volatile, to say the least. And but what that does for us is it gives us a chance to loosen the stranglehold of perception as we create a new direction forward. I think that just using the 75-year-old man from Buffalo, from the protest in Buffalo, I'm assuming he lives in the Buffalo area. They're saying such ridiculous things from the government administration now. It's about him. It's just lunacy. And I hope when all is said and done, I hope he sues everybody, because I hope he sues the federal government, because what they're saying about him is ridiculous, and we should all be hanging our heads in shame. We really should. This is just it's devolved, I guess, what I'm saying to this point. And so, it's not just that the situation has been volatile, it's that as the volatility increases, so do the lies surrounding it. And so that's what I mean. We need to loosen the perception that they want us to believe and just get rid of it because it's not working. We're expected to buy into some kind of lie that services whatever they're doing in the shadows. Understand that when people lie to you, there's something going on behind the scenes that they don't want you to know. They want a particular outcome, and they can't have it, all right? They just can't have it. Life here has to be based on fairness and justice and all of that. It can't be what it is right now. So we need a new direction forward, and a 1 energy can give us that energy to do that, basically. So anyway, today's rune for the day from our Esoteric Influences. And oh, by the way, if you haven't been here before, because this is new, or you haven't been to the Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune, I've shifted from just doing a little bit of astrology before the reading, only now here, to looking at the day's esoteric influences from the Esoteric Influences on my blog. I post those on Sundays, and they're for the whole week. And so I just decided to just sort of expand a little bit on just the astrology and look at some other things as well, because we do anyway. And now I've just taken it out of that and given it its own home. So anyway, so the rune for today from that is Ansu's. And Ansu's reflects the air element. It's known as Odin's rune. It reflects divine message, spirit communication, eloquence, creation, higher self, divinity, clarity. But it's clarity from who we are as a soul. The souls know everything. The collective consciousness knows everything. And so when people who are empathic are aware, they're tapping into it. When people are intuit something, they're tapping into that collective awareness that we're all part of. It's not something that ever leaves us. We might turn our attention from it and not really look at it and not acknowledge it, but it doesn't mean it isn't there. Those flashes of insight, all of that, that's higher self coming in and saying, hey, do it this way, think this way. And so with Ansu's, it's suggesting that that's happening today, that we should hear the voice of spirit and the message it brings, giving no purchase at all to the ego's influence, because that's really the true polarity. It's between spirit and ego, or spirit and personality. The personality or ego wants to take over when we come into form. Well, okay, to a point, but it's got to listen to spirit, only it doesn't. So that's the real struggle that we have, that internal struggle of who are we? Are we living in service to self or service to others? And ideally, the best place is to be living in service to others. But we need to remain on a healing path today. That's the final message of Ansu's. The moon's in Aquarius right now, so we want to give ourselves plenty of space to express ourselves today, especially if difficult emotions emerge. Aquarians aren't necessarily comfortable with emotions, so the emotion. So when the moon is in Aquarius, you might be experiencing some things that maybe you aren't maybe wanting to deal with at the moment, but maybe you should. But again, just do it in a way that makes sense to you. The moon is in semi-square with the north node, is in sesqui-square, I'm sorry, with the north node of the moon, and semi-square with the south node. It indicates that any lessons learned today will be incorporated into maybe even a career setting. So again, pandemic related, social justice related, all of that can impact not only your daily lives, but also your career path as well. We're going to have to start seeing things change here. And you're starting to see some of the cities. I think Minneapolis has ended their relationship with the police department. They're not going to let them in the schools anymore. It's a little difficult to trust when you see their behavior. And then I guess another area, and I don't know if it was Buffalo or if it was I don't know if it was all of New York. It was just one area. I'm not sure. But there was a video that came out about them fussing because, oh, you guys aren't treating us very well. Are you kidding me? You're not treating us well. I don't know. You get what you give, maybe? I don't know. But what is this? Because all of a sudden now their records are going to be exposed. If they've got, violence issues and all of that, if they've got a ton of complaints filed on them, the public has a right to ask them, why is this person still there? So that's going to be revealed wherever this was. And they're having a fit about it. Oh, I don't want anybody to know what a bad guy I am. Well, okay. Things are going to change. Okay. And we've got to start to think outside the box. And that involves career, obviously, the workplace. And that's, I think, what that's talking about. We've got to start seeing some shifting there going on as well. From the human design aspects here in the esoteric influences for today, for the 10th of June, Venus and Mars are in the same gates and lines from yesterday. So basically we're talking about the Grinch and his efforts to change the narrative is going to fail again today. To divert the attention from his failed response to both the pandemic and the protests that continue unabated. I think, again, the more they try to explain themselves, the worse it gets. It's like sometimes you just should shut up and it might do you better. I don't know. But he's at the point where nothing is going to help him. So, in other words, when you get to the point where someone says, I see you, well, give it up because either change your behavior, change your heart, do something, because obviously that person's not going to deal with you anymore. And I think that's where the country has come. So the more they try to talk, the worse it gets, basically. We're going to have to be willing to drop resistance. That's the sun's placement today, and embrace a shared path together, allowing truth to influence a positive outcome, because that's what's needed now. And that's the Earth's influence today. Although it's common not to get involved in acts that transform, the moon's placement at being a recluse, this is not the time to stand on ceremony, I don't think. All voices are needed. Even if the only thing you can do is go online and protest there, you may be someone whose health is such that you can't really, the social distancing is actually helping you stay well. And so, and you have to wear a mask and all of that because your immune system is compromised. And so you just don't, to be out in a crowd protesting, even if they're trying to do it as responsibly as possible, it just might be too much for your own health. And so whatever you can do, if you have a blog, you can write things, you can express yourself that way, you can write over on other publishing platforms like Medium, you can do longer tweets now and really express yourself. You can just keep adding, and then tweet them all. You can post things on Facebook. Well, I would be careful there anymore. I posted a cartoon that was it was a political cartoon. It was satire showing what was it? The Proud Boys type alt-right type group on one side and old people on the other. and it was about the Republicans wanting the old people to die for the Dow. That was when that was going on. You remember that? Well, there was a cartoon that expressed it, so I grabbed it off Twitter, put it on my Facebook page, you know, and because obviously I'm one of the olds who they want to die for the Dow, right? So and so is my husband. So so I put it up there. They took it off. And I think, and I don't know if that's the one that they came back and they said, "Oops, we got it wrong. We put it back." But there was another one, maybe, I don't know. But now I'm afraid to put anything other than posting my stuff there. I don't want to post anything like that now because I'm afraid they're going to take me off completely. See, so our free speech is being interrupted now. We're supposed to be able to do certain things, but these are private platforms and they can decide the rules. And so you just work it in your favor to get your point across. And you may have some places you just can't do that at, but where you can, then, you know, we all have something to offer today. So I think that it really makes sense to do that. And so I guess that's it. I don't think I have any more. I can't exactly see what the time is. Oh, we're at 11 minutes. There we go. I couldn't get that to leave the screen. So it's like, where am I in this? So I guess that's it. I'm going to go ahead and close out, and I'm going to get started on Somewhat Daily Tarot and Runes. So if you want to come over and watch that after watching this, that'd be awesome. So anyway, have a wonderful day, you guys. And again, just know that we're forging ahead on a different path. It's going to take a bit to, you know, I mean, I think we have it. We know where we want to go, but maybe we have to tweak it a little bit as to how we're going to get there. But just don't give up and don't stop speaking out. We need all voices now. And whatever you do, we're watching the effects of Memorial Day weekend start to show up. And so be aware of that. Be aware that the virus is spiking again around the country. And please, please, please be as safe as possible when you go out. So, and be safe for others as well. So in any event, we'll talk again tomorrow, and be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.